All right, welcome back to the STR podcast, otherwise known as the Start the Rebuild podcast. I'm your co-host, Tim Fournier, alongside Ian Mills.
What's going on? It is episode 29,
Episode 29.
the Brandon Codrington episode, Buffalo Bills
Oh,
kick
there we go.
returner.
The
I
Swiss Army
realized
knife of Western New York.
basically he's worked out with the running back rooms, he's worked out with the safeties and cornerbacks, and he's the kick returner. So that's him. Also the Drayton Florence episode,
Hmm.
and I'm just naming Bills at this point. And I don't think we talked about this last week. DeMarco Murray?
Oh yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
pull. That's a good
yeah.
pull. I got the Justin Forsett episode,
Yep.
the Earl Thomas episode, and I was actually in the grocery store this morning thinking about how we were going to do the pod, and one popped into my head, and I had to double check, but it was correct. Insane poll. The Roy Helu episode.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
29.
whoa.
I was like, I swear there is a Redskins running back that was 29. And then I was like, I
Did
think it's Roy Helu. And I had to look it up, but he was 29.
did did Xavier Rhodes wear number 29?
For some reason, I thought he was a 22 guy.
I think he wore 22. Oh, he did wear 29.
Oh, there you go. Road's
Here
closed.
we go. Rhodes clothes. Best
Just like
nickname of all
Buffalo.
time. What's that?
Just like Buffalo. Road's
Yeah.
closed.
Ooh. Yeah, Xavier Rhodes played for the Bills for like half a season, maybe.
Yeah, I remember that.
On the practice squad. I think I elevated him one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think he played maybe in that game against Spike. I don't know. That's not super important, but yeah, it is the 29th. Nope, it is not the 29th. It is episode 29, and it is
29th
the fifth.
episode.
It is the fifth day of December. Do you remember December? It is cold here in Rochester, New York. It is snowy and cold. Tim, how's the weather out in Charlotte?
It's actually, I mean, given the circumstances and the time of year, very nice today. It's been like high 30s, and today's 45 and sunny. So
Mm,
I went for a run this morning, and I was freezing at the beginning, but by the end of it, I was like sweating, so that's good. But
yeah.
yeah, pretty cold weather up there.
Yeah, that's your daily weather report here on the STR podcast. No, but I Tim and I were talking about this off air a second ago. I was maybe the coldest I've ever been yesterday.
Mm,
And I was in
ever.
Orchard Park. Maybe not ever. I'll explain the story.
Uh,
Definitely not. But it was one of those moments where I was like, oh wow, like when it gets cold, it's really cold. It's just one of those things like at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of winter, you kind of are like, oh, it's you kind of forget like, oh right, like winter is undefeated, right? You can't beat winter.
no, you can't. It's undefeated.
It's undefeated. Just like Father Time, except against LeBron James. Basically, what happened was I went to Orchard Park. They absolutely had an insane amount of snow this past weekend. Um, and it was still very cold, but I went knowing I'd be inside for most of the day. So I didn't want to dress too crazily because I didn't want to keep constantly changing in and out. So I was like, I'll just wear a windbreaker, like a polo and a windbreaker over the top of it because I'm going to be inside for the most part. It's going to be really warm inside, so I don't want to be too crazy, which was true. I was inside for like 99% of the time I was there. And I was fine. Went outside to record something, probably around 3 o'clock. It
Sure.
wasn't that cold. I made a snowball to like kind of try to be funny on air, like, oh, snowball. Bills are gonna be in Los Angeles. There's no snow in Los Angeles, right? One of those. Snowball was cold, but that's not why I was so cold. So that was fine. I go inside and edit a bunch of stuff for like 2 hours, little over 2 hours. And talking to one of the other people there, in the media room, and I'm talking to them and I'm like, "Hey, I don't like how my stand up looks," which is what I was shooting with the snowball. I was like, I think it looks a little um, you know, it just doesn't look great. I was like, "Should I go reshoot it outside?" And he was like, "Listen, it is really cold outside right now." He was like, "If you do it, just be quick." He was like, "It's gonna be, and this guy, I was talking to him not from upstate New York, so part of me was like, all right, take it with a grain of salt because upstate New Yorkers certainly deal with a different type of snow than most of the country.
Sure.
Different kind of weather and cold. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go outside. I'm gonna do it. Ran outside, probably about 5:15. It is almost like pitch dark outside because the days are so short. I set up the camera, and I'm probably doing it for about 5 minutes. I'm just like, hey, here and blah 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 blah. A guy walks past me halfway through, and he's like, hey, you look cold. I was like, I was like, I'm fine. It's not that bad. He was like, do you need hand warmers? I got hand warmers in my car. I'm right here. And I was like, I was like, I appreciate the offer. I'm gonna be out of here in like 2 minutes. So like, I'm good. Like, it's not worth the effort, but I appreciate your offer. He was like, I appreciate you, man. Like, stay warm. I was like, got it, man. I'm doing it. As I'm finishing, I'm realizing like, oh, I can't really feel my hands. Like, I'm holding this microphone and I'm like, I can't really feel my hands right now. Finish and like jump down, throw everything in my bag, and then I go to get my camera off the tripod and realize like I can't twist the knob because I
Like your
can't.
hands just don't work.
I'm like, my hand isn't working. I'm like, I can't feel my hand. I can't move my hand. I can't, I can't, my hand can't grip anything. Um, and I'm like, that's not good at all. And I like, it was like it was as that was happening, like an insane wind just like pushed through. And mind you, I was still just wearing the windbreaker. And I was like, got insanely like the coldest I've been in a long time. Ran over to my car, hoping and praying that my car keys were on my person, like on my body somewhere, because it was one of those ones where
Mhm.
if you just try to open the door, it'll open if you have your keys on it. Thankfully, it opened. And I just sat in the car for like 10, 15 minutes warming up. And it was like, whoa. That's not that great of a story, but it
Some of
was like,
the some of the hardest moments in life is when you're freezing like that and you get in the car and you're like, oh, I'm finally in the warmth. And the first like 5 minutes of turning the heat on, and it just blows cold air
yes.
at you. That's some of the hardest moments you have to fight
Oh
through.
yeah. My hands were so cold. And I was hoping and praying to like, you put your hand up to the vent to make it warm.
Yeah,
And it was just like, yeah, it was just cold, cold. I was like, this is making it worse. It was like, this is not making it better. And eventually it took a while, but it got fine. And it was one of those things where I was like, but at the end of the day, I was like, I'm glad I did it because it looked way better than the first one looked. So it was one of the things
there
I
we
was like,
go.
you know what? I'm happy I did what I did.
There we go. Um, well, before we forget, I also want to do the weekly shout out to our number one listener, Will Anderson. He was
What's
texting
up,
me about
Will?
the pod earlier in the week. Once again, he was at the Syracuse Miami game and he told me he was pissed. He got to storm the field, which is sick, but he said he was pissed because they weren't letting people tear down the goalposts.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Which I don't really know how that works because like the goalpost is like pretty solid in the ground. How do you tear
So
down a goalpost?
so I was looking at something. Who was it? Vanderbilt who tore down their goalpost
Yeah,
earlier
and then
this
it
year?
went
Is
like
that
all the way
who?
down Broadway. Like how did like I understand there's a million people like pushing on it or whatever, but like still,
I
like
think
that thing is solid.
what I saw was uh I forget what school it was. Maybe it was Tennessee when they tore down their goalpost a couple years ago. They changed theirs where it's now like essentially like they fold it in and out.
Mm,
You can't take it out. You can only fold it down, and it must be like much more, you know, down in the ground. My whole thing is they probably don't want it to be that solid on the ground because they're gonna have to change it out for like they're not gonna have it there for concerts, you
right.
know.
Like in Syracuse, they take the whole field away.
So it can't be that solid in the ground, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that's true.
I need to take it out. But it has, and you put like 50 people's weight on it, it's gonna fall down.
Mm,
Uh,
I guess that
so
makes sense.
so I'm yeah, I mean that sucks. They should have let them take off the goalpost.
Yeah.
Syracuse, they make enough money. They can, you know,
Yeah, let Will dominate.
let Will Anderson, an alumni of Xavier University.
Yeah, but longtime supporter.
Long time. So no. That wasn't me trying to diss Will. Will deserves everything. He's our biggest supporter.
He's
He
our biggest
deserves.
fan. You better be careful with what you say.
I'm sorry. I love. I no beef. No beef with
We're
Will.
gonna
I love
fall to
Will.
10 views. Down from 11
I love Will. Remains, you know.
remains.
He was one of my
You
first
wanted the
friends.
goalpost remains.
He wanted the goalpost remains, but
Yeah. Just so the remains comment makes sense. We can explain this story. We can just go down this rabbit hole, I guess.
sure, why not?
So, Will is a good friend from high school and middle school. But
Yep.
every day at lunch, there'd be some people that, are always finishing their plate. That was the majority of us, right? But there were some people that like, you get a piece of pizza and like they don't like eat the crust or something. And sometimes there's like some pizza left on there. And whenever someone did that, they would just yell remains and throw it to the middle of the table, and then it would just be open season of everyone jumping on top of it trying to eat it. Um, yeah, so that's what remains means. But looking back on that time, like yeah, it was like gold.
Yeah, I know it's crazy looking back because like now I don't know. Because I think if I go out with my friends and somebody has like an extra wing and they're like, "Hey, anyone can have this." Like, I'm gonna jump on top, you
Right.
know, like I still want remains. I still
I know.
yearn for remains.
A half-eaten piece of pizza is different than a wing, but
For sure it
that
is.
was our mindset back in the day.
But even then, like
No leftovers.
I guess yeah, because I probably wouldn't eat your half-eaten piece of pizza
Like my
now.
crust. Yeah,
Your
like
crust.
I wouldn't do that now.
But I would eat my girlfriend's crust, you know?
Right. We were
So
just
ba-
intimate.
we were just that close. We were all that close to each other. I also think like how are we like I guess we were growing kids. We were in middle school
Uh-huh.
and high school, but like damn, how are we that hungry that it was like shit, I'll eat.
Dude, I think we just used to have like endless stomachs.
Yeah.
Like the amount of food I would eat on a daily basis. Obviously, I used to weigh a lot more, and that's part of it. But like now I'm like I can't even like think about how much. I used to get like 3 lunches.
Yeah. No,
Because we'd have a food
yes.
period and I'd get food. I'd get like breakfast pizza. And then I'd go back and I'd go through the pizza line and I'd get 2 pieces of pizza for lunch. Sit down, eat it, and then go get back in line and then go get whatever the specialty food was when the line was shorter. I had whole systems to like maximum food to be eaten.
Yeah, no, it was I used to do basically almost exactly that.
Hmm.
We'd go you remember that I'd have like the burrito bowls and you remember we would have like we'd have Flex. We
Hmm.
would go to the cafeteria for Flex. I would get breakfast pizza at Flex and fill out the sheet to get the burrito because you had to order it ahead of time.
Hmm.
Do that, come back and eat it and maybe get like chips or whatever. And then I'd go to work at Delta Sonic, and I would literally the only thing I would eat at Delta Sonic it was like the big white monster
Hmm.
that exists, like whatever. And then I would always eat a pound cake. I thought pound
Hmm.
cake was like the greatest thing.
Underrated.
Love pound cake, man. And then I'd go home and eat dinner with my family, and I was like, that's a
Yeah.
lot of food in retrospect.
Yeah, dude, like we were just talking about some like classic Rochester stuff. There's the garbage plate,
Yeah,
obviously. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's mac salad, home fries with 2 burgers on top and a bunch of toppings.
yeah,
And I used to like a normal meal would just be like eating 2 of those, just like for fun. And then like
dude.
maybe like mac and cheese wedges. And I
I
at night, I'd be like, yeah, this is a good meal.
I don't know if it was because we were in high school or because we were like 18, but leaving Rochester and thinking about garbage plates, we used to eat them way too often.
Yeah.
You know, garbage plates is like a once a year type of thing.
Yeah.
That you don't eat that more than one. Like I used to have one probably once a week.
Yeah, everyone from Rochester too, like you describe it as like a delicacy to
Yeah,
someone else. And someone's like, like someone that's never had it before, they either think like it's gross or
yeah.
some people are like, oh, like that sounds good, but they wouldn't be like, they'd be like, why is everyone going so crazy about this? Some friends that
I
I've introduced it to are like, this is the best thing ever, and some are like, this is like gross.
Yeah, same. No, it's very hit or miss. I still do love a good garbage plate,
Of course.
but it's like you need to earn it. I feel like you need to earn it. And it sucks because it's almost like the perfect food for like late nights you just got out
Mhm.
from going out. But it's like, damn, do I really want to eat like 3,000 calories of greasy food after I just drank a bunch, at
Hmm.
like 2 a.m.? Not
Yeah.
really, but like that's the perfect time to eat it. You know what I mean?
Like I would eat a garbage plate in high school, like in the exact scenario where you like just talked about, like I don't know, like you just get introduced to drinking or whatever, and then like
Yeah.
late at night you eat a garbage plate, and I would literally eat it and be like eat it too fast and be like, I like want more food,
Yeah.
and I just pounded 3,000 calories
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
greasiest thing imaginable, and I just like felt great.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And now I want a garbage plate. Now I
Now
want
I
to get
want a
that.
garbage plate. We'll go get one when I'm home in a few
We
weeks.
will. That'll be my one garbage plate for 2024.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know the last time I had one. I think I had one over the summer.
I know I don't know if it was the last time I had a garbage plate, but the most recent memory I have of me getting a garbage plate last year, or almost exactly this time last year when I was living in Binghamton.
Hmm.
Um, and it was the New York State high school football championships in
Mm.
Syracuse. Mind you,
STR.
we had two when I was working in Binghamton, we had two different well, we had three high school football teams playing at the Dome, class B, C, and D.
Mm.
In the class C and D team played on the same day. The D team played at noon, the C team played at 7, I think. So they were 7 hours apart, but I had to cover both games. Drove probably, from Binghamton, probably around 10:15, get there at 11:30, unpack everything, shoot the first game, record everything I need for the first game, whatever. But that takes like 3.5 hours. So I'm done with that as the next game is beginning. And then so I didn't get to eat or anything because I was so working on them.
Yeah.
Ran down to cover the next game, shot the entire game, crazy game, finish that, record everything I need. And at this point, it took a lot less time because I had everything already set up. So I kind of that one only took about an hour and a half, 2 hours to finish.
Hmm.
So the game probably ended at like 10:30-ish, 10, or maybe a
Yeah.
little bit before that. I finished everything probably around like because I was working during the game too, probably close to midnight.
Mm.
So I'm leaving the dome at midnight. I left work at 10 a.m. I have not eaten a single thing all day. Like I didn't eat breakfast. All I had was like I probably had like six coffees, six black
Sure.
coffees throughout the day, cold brews throughout the day. And when I get back to my car, I realized I had two full coffees left in my car because you couldn't bring them into the dome.
Hmm.
So I'm driving down 81. It's foggy. It's like almost snowing, or it might have been snowing, but it was definitely foggy and like there was some type of precipitation. Driving down 81, just chugging caffeine at like midnight, realizing that every single restaurant, including fast food, is closed for some reason.
Hmm.
And I'm like just driving, still hungry, but this kind of caffeine is, appetizer suppressing,
Sure.
going crazy. And I get home, get back to the station at like 1, um, drop everything off, get home around 1:30-ish, and I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. Like, what's open? Hop on DoorDash. Because I thought I was like, I can just go to Taco Bell right now. I know that's
Right.
open. Go on DoorDash. And I saw that there was like Binghamton Hats was open, which
Ooh.
is like, garbage plate place. I was like, damn, I'm gonna get a garbage plate.
Nice.
Ordered the garbage plate. All my friends were in town because I think it was like SantaCon maybe. And they were all texting me like, yo, come out, yo, come out. And I was like, guys, I need this garbage plate. I'm gonna kill this garbage plate and then I'll go out. Ordered the garbage plate. It came, and the moment it came, I was like, I'm not going out. I was like, this is gonna be an intimate night with this garbage plate, and I'm gonna play Madden or MLB The Show or
Mm.
whatever I was playing, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah. No, that's the
But
way.
earned. It was earned, it felt.
Yeah. Eating like really good food, even though it's like maybe bad for you, when you feel like you've earned it, is a great feeling.
Yeah, definitely. You know
Mm.
what I've gotten really into?
What's that?
Is soup.
Mm.
Love a good soup.
I used to not be a soup guy when I was a kid. I was just like, I'd much rather have something else. But
Right.
I definitely appreciate soup more. Like
The
my
thing
mom made
is
some
like,
soup when I was home, and I was like, this is gas.
yeah, the thing is like you always are like, well, I want something that's gonna fill me up. And soup doesn't necessarily do that. It can, But you don't, now that I'm like an adult, I'm like, I don't need something to fill me up all the time.
Right.
Like I'll be working in the cold, like yesterday, working in the cold all, it wasn't working in the cold all
Warm
day, but
soup
when I
when
was
it's
working in
cold.
the cold,
Yeah.
all I could think about was soup. So when I got home from work, I was like, damn, I'm gonna have some soup. I had some soup and it was
Heck
great.
yeah. Heck yeah. I love
It was
it.
good.
I love it. So I guess this is just what I always do. Random topic change.
Sure.
I was thinking about this, and I think we've talked about this on the pod, but I want to revisit it. And I want to play a little game. I
Oh,
don't
that's true.
I think we've tried to do this before, where you compare like our lives to some random athlete's like career, like where
Sure.
they're at in their career. And you know, it doesn't have to be one to one, but you can just like draw some similarities. I was thinking about it. I think it'd be cool if we did it for the other person.
Oh,
And then
okay.
we say like, is this true or not? Do we agree? And
Okay.
I think I've brought this up for you before, and I think it works. And I think you maybe thought it didn't because I'm gonna go on the LeBron route, and you were like, oh well, I'm not LeBron, but like forget that part. So Binghamton,
Sure.
you uh like young on the scene, smaller market. So
Mhm.
LeBron and the Cavs, the first stint, you know, had some success, but ultimately decided it was time to go to a bigger market. And then there was some struggles, if you remember, early on with the Heat. Like they were trying
Yeah.
to mesh like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They're like, who's the one, who's the two, who's the three? Like, what? How does a pecking order work? And there's a little bit, but then they started hitting a stride and obviously became really good. Would you agree that you're maybe on the LeBron arc if you're comparing just like the LeBron arc? Basically, you're LeBron.
Basically, I'm LeBron James. No, I
Basically,
see what you're saying.
like Cleveland, Binghamton, the smaller market, and then you move to the bigger market. He moved to Miami, you move to Rochester, bigger market.
Mhm.
And then there's like a little bit of struggles. We were talking on the pod, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to find my footing, like where I fit, like what works. And now you're starting to figure it out. So would you say it's fair to say like along the LeBron arc, you're in the spot where they're just figuring it out in Miami?
Yeah, I'd say so. And now I'm gonna have, two NBA finals ahead of me.
Four.
Uh, four.
Or
Well,
no,
I'm
no, no.
two with Miami.
Two with Miami. Yeah.
Two with
Or
Miami. Right, he won two with Miami, right?
he won two, but he went to four.
No, I know that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Winning.
yeah, yeah.
Well, the first year he struggled and lost.
Right. Maybe you're gonna have an ultimate challenge like coming up
Who's
and
gonna be
you'll
my
fail.
Dirk
And then
Nowitzki?
it'll fuel you for the next 2 years to win back to back.
Hmm.
And then you're gonna go for another year and things maybe don't work out, whatever. And then maybe you decide it's time to, you know, go back to Binghamton, go
Oh,
home and dominate Binghamton, and then go to an even bigger market. Who knows? Who knows?
hmm.
Maybe you'll follow the LeBron arc completely.
I appreciate that. It's very kind to be compared to LeBron. I don't know what to say. That's
It
very
it
kind.
it fit though.
It does fade a little
Up to
bit.
now, it has fit.
I just have to continue the prophecy.
Right.
Who's going to be my Tim Duncan? I have to find him and
Mm. They're
to
like
find
the
that
they're like
person.
they're like long-term vet that's trying to get one last ring
That's trying to kill
that
me.
you have to lose to and then defeat.
I'm
Or I
I
guess I guess he beat him and then lost to him.
Yeah.
Huh? Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he lost to the Thunder and then beat or no, what am I saying? He lost to the Mavs and then he beat the Thunder and then he beat the Spurs and then he lost to the Spurs. So you would have to defeat and then lose to
Fair enough. I like that.
just to go
I
home and win the biggest career achievement of your life.
come back to Rochester and even though wait, come to Rochester and win a, an award. Win best something or other. I think your comparison. I'm trying to think. There's a couple of options I have in mind. Uh, let me.
I feel like I could be someone that like I don't know, changed teams where like they weren't really.
Well,
Remember, it wasn't working, and then they found a new route.
that's
And we're
sort
in
of
the
the
early
idea.
stages of like the new.
Yeah, that's sort of the idea that I had. But there's a couple things. There's a couple key aspects
Sure,
that I want to hone in on. And this isn't gonna sound good, but
sure.
like bear with me for a minute. And there's probably a better example out there, but I'm just sort of trying to move and I'm just thinking basketball. Kevin Durant, because listen,
Mm.
hear me out. Drafted by the Thunder. You were not drafted by the Thunder, obviously, but I'm thinking that's sort of like the Rochester vibe, right? And maybe even Texas a little bit, like high school. Let's equate Texas to high school or college to high school, essentially.
Okay.
To me, things go well. You're doing great, right? Like certainly one of the all greater Rochester defensive player of the year or something along those lines.
I did not win that, but okay. I won Player of the Week once.
Player of the week, AGR player of the week. KD had a good career at Texas. Obviously, didn't win a national championship. You never won a Section 5 championship, unfortunately.
Um,
The night. Hey, that's not the hone in. You go to college, Wisconsin. He goes to Oklahoma City. You know, things go seemingly start off pretty well. Not that Wisconsin ever didn't go well. Went well, and at a certain point, you sort of started to kind of mature, and so did Kevin Durant. Not that you didn't needed to mature. This isn't about you essentially, but basically, you get to a point right where obviously you graduate college. My point of saying all this is two things that Kevin Durant and you sort of this doesn't even make sense in my head now that I'm kind of saying it.
I have one in my head that is interesting.
Well, let me finish
I'll let you go through
let
this.
me let me get to the point that I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
Two things about Kevin Durant. He went from like um being like this kind of I don't know, I felt like he was having he things kind of were okay with the Thunder and then he left to the Warriors. Obviously there's the drama of okay, why would you join the Warriors, right? Because they're
Mhm.
already the best team in the NBA. Kind of throwing that out the window. But going to the Warriors, and I felt like the first couple of years with the Warriors, it was sort of like he was enjoying basketball a lot more than he was in Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
Like he kind of figured it out. And it also
Mhm.
was just like he was surrounded by guys who wanted him to succeed, and then he automatically was succeeding. And then secondly, he went from like being this like uh, lanky 3-point shooting, like whatever, to going to like Oklahoma or no, going to Golden State. He was still lanky, but it was like he almost like took the process more seriously, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. The one that just popped into my head. This was not premeditated, so it might not work out. I almost think I'm in Kyler Murray arc before he like won the Heisman and was going to be the number one pick. Where like he has this route, he already got drafted for baseball, and he has this route, but he knows that he's really good at football and could be something bigger in football than he
Hmm.
could be in baseball, but he hasn't gotten drafted yet. I'm looking for a job. So it's like, and he ultimately made the right decision, we think, right? Because then he,
Yeah.
has now a massive contract in the NFL, one rookie of the year, all that stuff. So it's like I've got these two paths. I was doing kind of like the fitness stuff before, the baseball stuff would be the comparison, and got drafted there, and like there's a route there. But he ultimately found out that he likes one more than the other and thinks he can do bigger things with it. And that's why I, go to grad school,
Yeah.
hopefully to get on a different, better path that I think will be more for me.
Yeah,
So
that's a better
like
comparison.
very early in the Kyler Murray arc, where there's kind of like two options and he had to make a decision and he fully committed to one, but it hasn't fully been realized yet. Like he hasn't won the Heisman yet. He hasn't been drafted number one overall. And then, when I
I
find
like that.
a job, whatever it is, then I'm hopefully going to have success there. And then there'll be its own struggles once I get there, where
Yeah.
Kyler Murray has had like a very good career, but there was definitely struggles in it.
Yeah.
Tore his ACL. He had finally had like the big season where they went 10-0, and then things, fell off, and he like lost his first playoff game and hasn't been back. Like, then I'm sure I'm gonna have struggles down the road as well. That's what I've come to.
I like that. I like that. Matt Stafford could work, you
Mm,
know. Detroit Lions, like considered great,
yeah,
I mean, he was great. He wasn't considered great. He actually was like phenomenal. And it just wasn't necessarily like the right fit for him. It wasn't,
right.
the surroundings might have not been great. And
Yeah,
the moment he kind of had that change of scenery,
yeah. And it was the perfect time in his career
yeah.
to, and he had enough
Make
time
the change.
left to have that change and
Yeah.
have success.
Yeah.
So I could see that too. I
Yeah,
could see.
Kevin Durant might. I was trying to think of like a guy who went from one team to another and like the fit were like went from like a role player on one team, changed to another team, and then became sort of like the star. But it
Mm,
was partially because of the surround, like just enjoying who he's around. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
No, I
You know,
also
like
see
the
the
second
Kevin
team.
Durant thing for sure because it's like the Thunder, like everything like made sense. Like I was going to school, I was working for the football team, and I wanted to work in sports, and it all made sense.
Yeah.
And then I made a decision to like go down the fitness path for a while, for a few years. And I'm sure people are like, why the heck are you doing that? Like, why are you changing so much? We thought you wanted to do this one thing. And people were like, why are you going to the Warriors? Do
Yeah.
that for a few years, but then still ultimately decide to make another change. He leaves the Warriors, goes to the Nets. Maybe that's where I'm at now too.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to win a ring for myself on my own.
Who's your Kyrie Irving? Who's gonna ruin your life?
Mhm.
Not the Kyrie. Who's my Tim Duncan? Who's your Kyrie Irving? Basically, we need to figure next pod. We're gonna bring that up.
Next pod, we got to do some research.
Yeah.
Run the stats on that. Run the
I like
analytics.
that a lot. Who do we think? Who's Will Anderson? We got to talk about Will Anderson more.
Ooh, Will Anderson.
You know what? I'm gonna give Will Anderson, because I need to make amends with him because I seemingly insulted him and that was rude of me to do that. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady,
Mm.
mm. Barry Bonds. No, 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 no. Maybe Wayne Gretzky. No, no, that's not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Secretariat.
Oh,
Secretariat. Yeah.
just
Because
all
he's the
the
GOAT.
goats of
Because
every
he's the
sport.
GOAT. He's the
I
GOAT.
think Will Anderson, I don't have a name yet, but you can help me. I think he is someone that no matter what, puts his head down, brings his lunch pail to work,
Oh, hell yeah.
gets stuff done, and doesn't always get the recognition that he deserves.
Frank Gore Sr., baby.
Maybe it's Frank Gore, someone that, who is an athlete that like never got the recognition he deserved, but had a great career and just always like flew under the radar of national media, but every single day just went to work and got shit done.
Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan, maybe.
That's probably, I mean, quarterbacks, it's tough to pick a quarterback because they always, if he won an MVP.
I feel like there's got to be like a stud receiver that was just like in a small market and every day just went,
Donald Driver?
mm. Or like an NBA player that was a glue guy on like championship runs that just like didn't get the credit he deserved.
Shane Battier?
No, he's more than Shane Battier.
No, I know, but
Mhm.
he's a glue guy.
There's got to be someone that fits this bill.
There definitely is. Mike Vrabel as a player?
Mm. What
Teddy
about
Bruschi?
I could see a like a Fred Jackson in terms of smaller market dude that just went to work every single day and was really good. But like no one in the national media was talking about Fred Jackson.
Yeah,
He was
that's
like
fair.
leading the league in rushing that season through like 12 games or whatever before he
They
got hurt.
got hurt. Yeah.
But you didn't hear one thing about Fred Jackson.
That's fair.
And maybe
I like
that's too like easy because
we're from
Bill and we're
yeah.
from upstate New York.
He's a Bengals fan. Is there any Bengals that will fit this bill? TJ Houshmandzadeh,
Um, I don't know. Someone,
Mohamed Sanu.
mm,
That
always a
doesn't
great
really, he doesn't
player.
really.
Always a great player.
Tyler Eifert. Remember he was just kind of like a guy, and then all like randomly had like 1,200 receiving yards.
Hmm. I feel like there's a running back that could fit this bill.
Then Jarvis Green Ellis. I mean, Cedric Benson, I feel like had national media on him a little bit. No,
Yeah, I could see like Alfred Moore, someone like really soft spoken and like you never hear from him. Then you never hear them like and like a presser say something crazy, but he just like went to work and dominated. That's the archetype. We'll workshop it.
James Cook currently right now.
Maybe, maybe. I'm sure Will will have an opinion. Maybe he can drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
And
I think Secretariat's the best.
Secretariat, Wayne Gretzky, Tom Brady combo.
Yeah,
I
great
like
one.
that.
The great one.
Yeah, but we need to keep that as like a theme throughout this podcast.
I like that.
Like just comparing anything we can to like random sports narratives.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Um, I do like that a lot. That's fun. Uh, because I know we're kind of coming short up on time, or are we? I think
Uh,
we don't even know. Point is though, that's not important. What I was gonna say though, change the topic, random change the topic. I do like that. Update on my Indiana college football 25
oh
dynasty.
yeah, let's hear it.
Went 10-2 in the regular season.
Mm, very
Losses
similar
to
to this.
Ohio State.
Very
Losses. I
similar.
I lost to Ohio State, who was 2-4 when we played, which is super random. Ohio State was 2-4. We were, I think we might have been like 4-0 or something. Lost to them. Then played Michigan in like week 10, week 11. They were the number one team in the country. We were like the number nine or something like that. We were one loss. They were undefeated.
Hmm.
Crazy back and forth game. They might have only had like 20 plays. They were scoring based like it was either an interception or a touchdown on like every other play for them. In like 80-yard touchdowns, whatever. I all of my drives were like 20 play drives, running the ball up the middle, like for 3 yards, fullback dive on 4th and 1, almost every single drive to get the first down, whatever. I score with like a minute left in the game to take the lead. They get the ball back. 30-second drive to kick a field goal. They kick the ball back to us. Never had this happen before. The punt returner or the kick returner muffs the kick and it goes into the back of the end zone and we get tackled in the end zone for a safety and we lose the
Oh
game
my God.
40-36. We would have had a chance to win it with a field goal. But now playing them in the Big Ten championship, I'll probably play that game later today.
Revenge time.
But we should probably make the playoff anyways, 10
Mhm.
and 2, because looking around the rest of the country, like or looking around the rest of the bracket, like everyone has either 3 or 4 loss. Like Ohio State's 8-4 and they're like the 10 seed.
Mhm.
How'd they get in? So
Maybe I need to hop back on the sticks. Is that how you like to do it? You like start with like a bad team, whatever, as like offensive coordinator, and then like get a job at like a lower level Power Five team.
yeah,
And
that's what I like to do.
because I have a Charlotte Dynasty that I haven't played in a long time, maybe I should run the same thing
It's fun. It is a lot of fun.
and then just be like a bad SEC team or something next.
Yeah, I think my options. I was gonna stay at Troy
Hmm.
for another year because I had like a couple offensive coordinator positions, and then Indiana randomly popped up, and I was like, oh, that would be fun to go to Indiana. Lower Big Ten school. I mean, they're obviously having a great year this season.
Hmm.
The thing about Indiana though is that I realize is that their line, well, at least in this game, maybe not in real life, but their offensive line compared to Big Ten defensive lines is really bad. So
Mm,
like we would run the ball like crazy in the non-conference, and then
yeah,
we get to like the regular season in the Big Ten, and it's like, oh yeah, like can't do that anymore, you know.
right.
So I had to get my quarterback's like the ultimate game manager. This guy can, you know, find an underneath drag route like no other.
Is it
He's
Nathan Rourke still? Or no?
no, I'm like this is like what my fourth year, so it's like I just really not. It's Tyler Cherry.
Is he real or no?
I have no idea. I could find that out probably pretty quickly. I think he's a sophomore, so I don't think he is real.
Okay.
But I just recruited a 4-star. He might. I'm kind of hoping Tyler goes to the draft. He's a retro sophomore because I don't want to have to pick.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, maybe I should hop back on the sticks. I've been really bored lately, and I'm gonna have break here coming up, but like, am I gonna bring my Xbox home? No.
Yeah, dude. No, bring it home, and then we'll do what we did with Madden, but with college football.
Oh, that could be that
Could be
could be
fun.
the play. That would be nice.
Could be fun. And we could just have like Will comparison.
If I have enough room in my suitcase, I'll do it.
We just have like Will Anderson comparisons in our like as we play. We'll just be like, oh, this is Will.
This guy's Will Anderson. Yeah, I like it. All right, goals for next week.
You
I
go
can go
first.
first if you want me to.
Yeah, you go first.
Well, mine's pretty obvious because it is finals season here in grad school. Massive test on Tuesday and a project that I have to do. So I have a lot of work cut out for me. Um, but then it's going to lead into a very fun week. Once I'm done next Wednesday, well, I'll definitely be done. Hopefully I'll be done Tuesday. Hopefully I don't have anything left after this big test. The test is going to be very hard. It's a cumulative test throughout the semester. So it's going to be very hard. So I have a lot of studying to do for it. Um, but then it's gonna be smooth sailing and then just, spend time with my friends next week before I go. And then it'll be going home and I'll be able to chill for a while.
Yeah,
And
in
obviously the
person
next
pod.
thing is still the continuing job search.
Yeah,
But
in person pod.
in-person pod should be happening. There's no reason for
Uh, it will happen, no doubt about it. My personal goal. I know I kind of feel like this is a cop out. I do it every week. You know what I'll do? I'll mention that hey, I want to just continue working on
it.
whatever the documentary. Secondly,
Oh,
I want
second goal for me is like get back into running because I like just started like after the marathon, like took some time off. I'm running like a 5K in Charleston in January, so I gotta get back into shape. I
well,
gotta
what I was about to say was
line that up.
what I was about to say is, and I might have mentioned this on when we did a pod on Sunday, that I sort of am getting over being sick.
Sure.
I haven't had the chance to maybe run as much. That was my whole that was what I was going to say is I want to get back into the fold of running,
Let's go.
a couple times a week.
Is it
Because
gonna be possible with like cold and snow and
I'm actually looking at the roads right now and there's no snow on the roads, so they must have
oh
plowed
well there
already.
you go.
So, before we go though, thought this would be fun. Spotify Wrapped came out yesterday.
Ooh.
Who's your top five?
Oh, where's my phone? I remember most of it. It was like the top two were honestly surprising to me. It was a Lil Uzi and Juice World, which I definitely listened to, but like I feel like I haven't listened to them in a long time. And really there was one Uzi song, Paradise, that I was spamming a lot. And then the other one, the other big one was Creed. Been listening to a lot of Creed the last few months and like that like type of music, like divorced dad rock.
Sure.
Um, and one other one, there was a country artist. I don't know where my phone is. Um, and then there was one more. I think it was, which was shocking to me. That was in my top five was Drake, and I have no idea how.
Yeah, honestly, I was very surprised by my five as well because there were a couple artists I listened to a lot earlier in the year that maybe I just forgot about.
Yeah, I think I had a
Like
lot of that.
my number one was Mac DeMarco, which I was surprised by because I like Mac DeMarco, I do, but it's like I don't think I listened to him that much. Like I definitely thought he
Mhm.
would be in like the top 10. I didn't think he'd be number one.
Right.
Number 2 is Clairo, who makes sense. She's been in my top 5 for like the last 3 years. I thought she would be. I thought she had a chance at being 1. 3 was Kendrick Lamar, which is makes sense. He came out with an album. I mean, he didn't come out with that that long ago. Obviously, he had a big year, and I've always liked Kendrick. 4 was Olivia Rodrigo, which didn't surprise
Hmm.
me. Thought she'd be higher. Those 4 didn't really surprise me. The order surprised me a little bit, but 5 was Kanye.
Hmm.
And I was racking my brain. I was like, I haven't listened to a Kanye song in a long, like in literally, I don't know that I've listened to like Kanye like at all this year. And it was
Right.
one of those things where I was like, I can't recall listening to Kanye at all. And then you know how they do like the top 100 songs of your, like
Yeah.
your, yeah. I was listening to that on my way to Buffalo yesterday, listening to that playlist, and there was not a single Kanye West song on the playlist.
It's rigged.
And I
Propaganda.
was like, I don't hate that Kanye was on the list. I don't, but I'm like, I just don't think it's accurate. I'm like, I just don't
Right.
think that's true. Like, I don't think he was the fifth, you
Yeah, I
know?
couldn't name a Drake song that I consistently listen to. And
He
he's
had
like
listened to
3 or 4. And I was like, what?
what he had the diss tracks.
Yeah, I didn't even listen to it.
What he had, 50? Give me 50.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'll listen to like headlines or something randomly. But
Yeah,
like,
Drake, like old Drake
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
He's great.
I don't
Oh,
know.
new Drake is, you know.
It was shocking to me. But yeah. All right. Well, next week, episode 30. And then the week after that, potential in person.
Potential. What time?
31 could potentially be in person.
Be a
Which,
big episode.
good on us for getting this far. We're about to get into the 30s.
Yeah.
We've probably done like 40 something all time.
Yeah. But
Look at us.
since
We're grinding. We make time for it every week.
we do. I love it.
And we're
It's the
gonna
highlight
keep
of my
going
week.
strong.
Getting wings later, potentially. You know,
Ooh.
you
We
know
got to
how,
do that when I'm home.
oh yeah.
Maybe we'll do it we'll do in-person pod and then go get wings.
And then do Thursday night football.
And
That's
then
like that's
Thursday.
literally my Thursdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Lock in,
Lock
baby.
it in. All right. Well, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll see you in the Steph Curry episode.
See ya.
See ya.